Hello, everyone. Hi again. Welcome to another exciting episode. My name is Temitope, and with me needs no further introduction. My friend, my brother, Peter. I'm really grateful you are doing this with me again. But please, do we need to introduce you again?
Well, I don't know, but maybe for new viewers or new subscribers,
Uh,
formality sake, let us say that.
please let us know you better. Then. Let's know you better.
All right. So, as he has rightly said, my name is Oyeladun Peter Oyeladun, and I am a built environment specialist. I'm a civil engineer still in school. I'm a professional builder and a professional interior designer. So, I'm a construction person. Let's speak like that. So, I think that's all about me. Thank you.
Amazing. All right. As usual, you're always humble. You're always humble. I would say, I would also want to call you an entrepreneur. You've been in this game way before me, bro. You've been in this game way before me. So, I mean, it's also part of one of your accolades. And I think it's one of the things I would probably want us to talk about quite a bit today. It's one of the things I want us to talk about quite a bit today. Thinking back, you started on this entrepreneur journey, I think as far back as was it 2018, 2019, thereabouts. But if my memory
Yeah.
serves me right,
Yeah.
yes,
Very right.
you've been
2018.
doing wow. You've been doing this since 2018, and I mean, can you just, if you don't mind sharing, how exactly did you start? How did you start this journey?
All right. So for me, I started out because first I identified what I wanted to be. And it was very clear at the point that I just wanted to be in the construction industry. So at the point I had to like meet up with different engineers, please, I want to, I was trying to be an engineer, this, that. Can I be your intern? Can you take me as your trainee? Can you take me as your mentee? But at the moment there was none that was, I was ready to take me till you get. And especially given the fact that I need school. And it's not like I wasn't going to go to school. But I also told my dad that I also like to learn some skill before going to school. But because I was construction oriented, I couldn't think about any better skill than any skill in construction. Of course, I cannot learn bricklaying. That'd be too harsh on me. So I think so. I came up with a plan that I either learn electrical works or I learn plumbing works. So I later opted for plumbing works. So yeah, I started out with plumbing work. And the reason why I started out back then was so I can meet my ends meet and so I can also get into the space to come closer to my dream of becoming a site personnel, a site professional, either a builder or a civil engineer. And I wish, thank God. And I wasn't wrong actually.
One thing inspires me about your story, and just to get a bit of clarity, right? I mean, at such a young age, in your early 20s, and you're able to craft out a vision for yourself, for your life. I mean, I still see many persons our age, even older than us. They say age is not by number, age is by maturity. Rather, it's not by age. Maturity comes as a sense of you knowing what you want for your life, understanding purpose for your life. And you see, just dawned on me that what exactly does vision mean to you? I mean, as an early 20s-year-old person who already knew what he wanted and you were laser focused on what you were doing, you emptied all the doubts, you emptied every single thing else, and you were laser focused. What was vision for you like? Can you try and describe how it was for you back then?
All right, so growing up, well, it was quite easy for me because I was privileged to be in certain positions, even as a teenager. And yeah, I started out, I think, at the age of, let's say, 17 or 18 or thereabouts. I really can't remember. But I started learning
Wow.
plumbing 2016. Yeah, I started learning plumbing in 2016 and I finished learning plumbing I left my boss place, I think 2018. So that's why I said I started out that 2018 on my own. You get it. But realistically, I've been in this since like 2016 learning the trade. But we're still learning it as on the local level, you understand? Like very, very,
Of
very
course.
local level. Trenches level, let me put it like that, the new slang. So vision for me then, at that age, I didn't really understand what vision meant back then. But there was something, I've always had dreams. And all of these my dreams, they move me closer to my visions. I've always had this passion to be able to help people. I've always had this passion to make impact in people's life. So vision for me then, back then, was me helping myself while I help others. It was simple as that. So this further you know, created my plans, my life goals, you understand? So everything I've had since 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019, all those dreams and visions, they are still the same today. Nothing has really changed. So vision for me then was all about, okay, get as rich as you can so you can help yourself and also help your community. I shared in the previous podcast that I had a dream of like building houses for people, transforming Lagos. Then I love Nigeria. So I was passionate about building houses, make Nigeria finer than USA. Because when those days, when my friends, when they talk about, yeah, some of them, their parents are in abroad. So when their parents come back, tell them stories and tales and how they will tell me that, they are planning to, to travel out to their parents with Jackman. I mean, there was no hope. There was no hope. I know I always be Nigeria. So it was just, I'm not trying to be cynical here, but it just made all the sense for me to just plan my life, to plan the whole of my life in Nigeria and to look how I can also make the community around me a better place. Those places that we were traveling out to go, if I can make my community, my immediate society around me, if I make it look like that, then I'll be comfortable. There'll be no need for me to travel out. So that's how vision started for me.
Beautiful. So would you say your goals in life were pressure driven or they were purpose driven?
Well, the truth is, to be honest, I would say it was first pressure driven before it became purpose driven. I mean, you can't have the fire without heat. When there is fire, there is heat. So it's a combination of the two. But at a point, there are certain point that it is more pressure driven. To be honest, it is more pressure driven than purpose driven. Certain times you want to make more money because bills are choking. I believe pressure is intrinsic and it's extrinsic. You understand? The moment when you start doing things because of others, that is extrinsic pressure. James. But if you have to do this, you should do it because of intrinsic pressure. Intrinsic pressure is when you do this because of your own expectation, because of your own drive. You understand? So there's this. I was saying, I saw a conference early this month, and the man was like, in a class, he made an analogy saying that in a class where when the test is given, the test was given in a class of 20 people. 20 people. You are the only one that scored 4/10. When you now start hearing the result of others, you saw that others were scoring like 2, 1. So you feel like you've done good. But when you come to look at it, 4 is not even the average mark. It's not even a pass mark. The pass mark is meant to be 5/10. Do you understand? And if you assume you are succeeding because of that, you are totally failing. And of course, the obvious one will always be for you to outdo yourself. The pressure should not be about you outdoing others. The pressure should be about you outdoing yourself. So it is not a good one when you are doing things because you feel pressured by others to do them. But the thing is, I constantly remind myself, I don't owe anybody anything. So you understand? Yeah, there have been times I will fall into the trap of having to do things because of people's expectation of us, how people have viewed us, and this kind of thing. But then you come to understand in adulthood that if you want to succeed, you have to settle with the fact that you don't owe anybody anything, not even your parents. To be honest, not even your parents. Yes, your parents have their fantasies, they have how they want you to live your life. But you can't, if your vision and your dreams align with what they fantasize, that's beautiful. And if it doesn't align with it, the most important thing is for you to be successful. The most important thing is for you to be successful. So I do not buy the idea of having to do things because of social media, because of trends, because of, unrealistic goals set by the society. And you come to ask yourself, all these principles that you see around, who sets them? Is it God?
Who sets them?
It's not God. So all those kind of things, I'm not into. As a Christian, it's not all right. You do things because of your intrinsic pressure. And when it's intrinsic, most times it is driven by the Holy Spirit, if you are a believer.
You said something very cordial. You said something, or let me pick two things from there. You said your goals or what you are doing should be driven by the Holy Spirit. I mean, as a believer, any believer should understand that his or her life should be driven by purpose. And at the point when you realize purpose, you start to work by purpose. It's a very important point that many people fail to realize. Now, secondly, you see, is the subject of being driven by the desires of the society, the desires of our parents. Now, there's this evil I've seen in our day and time where people only want to do what they are told to do by those that are claimed to be guardians. Growing up, some of us, our parents will tell us, oh, I want you to become this because I could not do it in my own life. I want you to do that because I could not achieve it. Now, it's almost like as if we're starting to force our beliefs or our visions on someone who is innocent and has not realized anything at all. And all of a sudden, we start to corrupt the mind, we start to corrupt that person. So realize that, oh, if you're not doing this thing, then you are a bad person, or then you are not actually doing the right thing. And I found this thing in many parents that are not as learned. It's almost like as if for many of us in this side of the country, in this side of the world, we are our parents are creating goals for us based off what they failed to achieve or based off what they could not achieve, instead of allowing that child to go out there and discover his or her purpose by himself. And you see, it has brought by itself a kind of cage, a kind of limitation, that when you've lost the guiding light, when you've lost the North Star that is constantly pointing you in a direction, and you are all on your own, it becomes a huge problem. And that child becomes a
Mm.
non-entity, so to say. I
Mhm.
It's really me to ask, yeah, right. What's your take on discovering purpose? What's your take on discovering purpose? Particularly for someone, even in his twenties, for someone that's in his twenties, totally blank of idea. What's your take on him or her discovering purpose? Now, don't know for that kind of person. For someone that is just coming out of the understanding that I'm not living my parents' life, I'm living my own life. What's your take on purpose for that kind of person? How do they navigate it?
Yeah, so yeah, very beautiful one. And I really love the fact that you have to bring this into parenting because you know we should not be the continuation story of our parents. Why that is not
Hmm.
necessarily bad, but in terms, coming from the perspective you taking it, in from the perspective of because your parents were unable to do certain things, then now they want to enforce it. That's not right. I'll be a successful project manager, construction, understand? And even at a point build tech solution for construction job. But I would not in any aspect or in any way of my life try to enforce my own vision on my children. I would let them discover their purpose. And now discovering purpose, you know, I would use myself as an example. I was able to discover purpose from my pain points. Pain points. Painpins. Yes, and I just know this is what I'm built for. Those things I suffered, those things I was unable to get, I'm driven to look for solution for them. And when I eventually get all of these things solved, I will make it easy for the rest. This purpose already. Purpose is
Wow.
service to humanity. It is not your purpose cannot be that you want to be successful. That's not a purpose. Your purpose cannot be
Hmm.
that you want to be as rich as Elon Musk. That's no purpose. Those are just dreams. So purpose is divine. Purpose is a gift given to us by God. Now let's look at the life of Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ's purpose was to die for us. You understand? And to redeem us from sin. No, which he did. Just one purpose. You can't have two purposes. You can't have three purposes. There's no plural in purpose. There's no purposes. There can only be purpose. You get? So your purpose is just one. That's why you need to discover your purpose. Now, your purpose can be one, but have different channels. There are different
Hmm.
aspects to your purpose. But when you come to look at the primary, it is just one. You understand? Now, I know my purpose is to improve humanity, to help people achieve their dreams, and to help people be the best version of themselves, to be whoever they want to be, to help people achieve their dreams, to help young people come to understand their visions, come to understand their dream, and to live a life they dream. That's my own purpose. And now I will do this thing through healthcare. I'll use healthcare to achieve this. Use agriculture, foods to achieve this, and also use education to achieve this. Somebody battling for his life in hospital, that person, he does not have the hope of, I want to become this, I want to become that. He is still on the hospital bed. So if I can clear the person's bills, pay for the person's surgery, he's out of coma, he's now fine, rehabilitate the person. This person will be able to live the life that God has called him to. Do you understand? So that's my
Yeah.
own purpose. So my purpose, like I said, I said something earlier that the reason, we're talking about pressure or no pressure, vision or no vision and those. And I was saying that I dreamt to become who I am today, of which I've not fully become. I dreamt to become who I am today because number one, my parents were not rich for me to say I want to chase one dream in abroad. So I felt like, well, since I'm going to remain in Nigeria, then let me improve the society. Let the community in Nigeria be what I want to see. If at a point it warrant me to go into politics, yeah, so be it. We go into it. It is just one purpose. But there can be different ways to achieve just one purpose. And that different way is also part of the journey. Today, I'm a construction engineer. Tomorrow, I I am I am I could be a senator, I could be anything, but there is one purpose to all
Okay,
of these
boss.
things.
Beautiful, bro. I think one cogent thing that anyone listening should take note of is that, see, there can only be one purpose. There can only be one thing you are called to do. There can be different means of fulfilling that thing. But then there's always a particular thing that you are called to do. And once you learn to define that purpose, you see, one thing about purpose is that purpose cannot be one thing this year and by next year it has become something else. Then you have not figured it
Uh,
out. You,
no,
you are still joking. And really, it now becomes like a guiding light. This is the way I've started to see vision. You see, anyone without purpose, really, think of it this way: anyone without purpose, he has nothing he's looking forward to. He has nothing he's
actually,
looking at, something he wants to achieve. So he's just living life as it is. But then once you have a
yeah.
purpose, even where there's obscurity, even where everywhere is dark, everywhere is everything is going on, you still have something that you are focused towards. And it leads me to my next question. You mentioned something that one of the things that helped you to discover your purpose was the reality that dawned on you that your parents were not rich. But of course, what you wanted to do was quite different from the reality that you currently were. So, what exactly is the role of struggle and pain in discovering purpose? Now, I understand that some persons, of course, maybe due to your talents, this is what you're meant to do. Some persons, due to your position, you know what you're meant to do. But let's bring it to our own senses, some things that we've experienced. What exactly is the role of pain and struggle in discovering purpose?
For me, it's a different experience for everyone. And the
Of
thing
course.
is, it's not right to generalize experience. Yeah, why others can learn from your experience, but sometimes it might not be relatable. Sure, you get. There are certain people that it will always. I think discovery purpose will always have to deal from pain, no matter how big or small, and always have to do with struggles too. We've seen in most cases, go around to check it. In most cases, people become the best they can be in what they struggle with because they have to do that thing over and over and over and over and over again until they gain mastery of it. So the moment when they gain mastery of it, it becomes a purpose for them because now they want to pass that same thing down to people. They want to use that same thing to help people. Let's look at the likes of Michael Faraday, Thomas Edison. This guy is still countless number of times. Do you get? So their
Mhm.
purpose was to, create electricity, create bulb, all of this. And do you know how many invention has been built on that same principle they pioneered, that same theory they created? Do you get? But these things would not have been possible without pain and struggles. Do you get? So for many of us, okay, let's look at passionate doctors now, because these days I see people are not going into medicine because of the opportunities. But those ones that are passionate about it, those ones that are passionate, they got into medicine because they genuinely want to help people. Maybe some of them they lost a very loved one due to an illness because they were unable to diagnose what the issue is. Come to look at these people creating, tech devices, machines that treat cancer, that treat all kind of ailment. This comes from the place of pain. But they serve humanity, they serve a purpose. And you said you were saying something earlier, and I could really relate to it because when there is no purpose, there is no value. And if you don't have a
Mhm.
value in a place, you are not needed. So the reason why we are
Mhm.
even needed in the
Mhm.
first place is because we have purpose and then we have value.
Brilliant.
That's why I said in the previous podcast that everyone is valuable because we all have a purpose. We just need to discover them. So for me, I'm a firm believer that purpose in most cases, like 90 out of 100, will always have to do with pain and struggle.
If you lack purpose, you lack value. And everyone is looking for someone that is valuable to work with. I mean, no one is looking for someone that is not valuable, someone that has nothing to offer and keep that person around. I think it's one big advice, one of the biggest advice I've gotten so far. Everyone is looking for someone that is valuable. Brilliant, bro. Bro,
Yeah.
if I could ask one more question, if you can go
Okay.
back 8 years and you would have to repeat this process all over again, what are some of those things that you think you do differently? I mean, in your personal journey, in your personal growth journey.
Yeah, you see, that's a very beautiful question because, to be honest, you know how many times I've thought about this thing. Like even this year alone, I thought about this something like 10 times this year alone. Like if I have the chance of going back, I'll be doing 20x of who I am today. If I don't want to, I don't want to say too much, but I'm telling you, I'll be doing way, 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 way better. And experience is not the best teacher. I agree. But man, experience is a very good teacher. I would not lie. Experience is a very good teacher. now I've come to understand that there are certain communications, certain relationship that would have gone, certain relationship that would have gone, certain jobs. I mentioned earlier that I was trying to get internship, but I've not. And then I was just a whole level grad. I just finished from secondary school. Even back to my secondary school, maybe I would have created my courses to further strengthen my decision making for whatever course I want to study in university. And now that I've come to really understand what my dreams are in the construction industry, so it's going to be streamlined for that purpose. Today, in the construction firm, I can do plenty things. Like I can work across plenty different departments. But when you come to look at it, yes, it's good, but most of it, there are not much more needed. You get. So I believe if I had
Yeah,
to
yeah.
go back to 8 years, this is 2026. To 8 years would be like, what year is that? That is 2018, right?